I'm here with one of my favorite students and upcoming traders right now, Sandra.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me so much.
Thanks for having me.
She's actually my first female six-figure student, which is an amazing accomplishment for anyone. Just getting profitable at all, as we know, is super, super difficult. So I just wanted to bring her on, maybe give some hope to some of you out there, get a different perspective. She's obviously a female in an industry where most of us are dudes and men, and has her own kind of unique views on that kind of stuff. So really, really solid perspective, really, really amazing work ethic. And I think for me, that's what has separated her so far. So I just wanted to get her story, some of her process, what makes her tick, because she has her own system for trading and everything that she's developed. And that's what has been the most impressive to me. So without further ado, this is Sandra.
Hi. Well, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So maybe let's just start with your story. Let's just start with your story. What got you into trading? Kind of what were you doing before trading? And then we'll kind of just go along your journey that way.
I actually came to the US 20 years ago, and I have a long background in event management, in protocol, seeding. And during COVID, that all shut down. So for us, whereas I actually really liked my career and I had a really thriving job, during COVID, there was nothing going on. And I still got paid, and there was no, problems of me getting laid off. I was just really bored. So I started watching the stock market during COVID and traded a bunch of large caps. Basically everything that was tanking, I bought at the bottom, and then sold it with 10 or 20% profit. And that went really well. And then I got a little too confident and ventured out in the penny stock market.
Right.
I was grounded real quick. But I also saw the huge opportunities. And that's how I got started. Yeah, 3 years ago.
And what did that look like? You Googled that. You got bit by the day trading bug, essentially.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I was addicted fairly quick. I think I have an addictive personality anyway. And then I was like, oh my God, where has this been all my life?
Yep.
Yeah, I got really bit by the bug. And I think it was just at the beginning, the possibilities that there were. I was like, man, so I'm working in this 9-to-5 job. I have a really solid education, never going to make the money that I can see can be done here in this avenue while working from home with the family, being flexible. And my family is now here, my husband, my daughter, but my parents, they're still in Germany. I have to go there all the time because they're getting older. I'm an only child. And so I was really boxed in my old job, not only with a salary cap, but also with the flexibility, vacation time, just packing up and leave if somebody had to go to the hospital. And so I saw that just for me, in my living situation, a huge potential in trading. And so then I took basically everything I could to make it successful. And we all know that's not that easy.
No, it's not. So you bought some courses, we're doing some stuff. What was the first year of day trading like? The first 6 months to a year of actually day trading?
I think I was lucky that it happened during the COVID bubble. So when I transitioned from large caps to small, I was just very lucky. I mean, I just held stuff. I made 80% consistently. But then I started to struggle because I had no system. I had no rules. I just basically bought. Well, the morning dip buy did work really well. So I did that, and that was very successful. But you could tell it wasn't sustainable. I was kind of becoming arrogant about it, trading from the phone, not even having charts in front of me. And I started losing money, and I lost quite a bit. I mean, I didn't blow up my account, but it came very close. And then
what year what period of time was that?
It was for 20, when was it called?
2021?
I think it was still 2020. November, 2020, I think end of 2020, I think, yeah. And then I said, I need something else to do. I mean, there must be a rhyme or reason behind it. And then I started Googling around, found some teachers, found some classes. And that's how I got started to build more process around my trading. But it didn't came overnight. It took a long time.
So what was kind of the main driver then? What took you from kind of being lucky and then lost a little bit to then finding process for yourself, finding a system? Because you're very systematized at this point. You know, anytime I hear what you're doing, there's discretion, but you also trade pretty freely and trust what you're doing. And a lot of people never get there, you know? So how did you come about that? Like,
I think what I always had, and no matter what situation I'm in, I have really good intuition. And I think also for some way that I sometimes can't explain it in the stock market. And for example, DWAC was the perfect, I didn't even have to look at the chart. I knew with the price action and with the hype and the chat rooms, I knew, and it's to this day, it's my best trade ever. And it was mainly, I didn't really follow my system there, but I just knew it. I just knew it. So partly was intuition. And then I came, so my husband is big in statistics from his job. And we started talking about me transitioning full time into stock trading. And so we talked a lot about statistics. And meanwhile, I was reading Mark Douglas' book, who basically preaches the same system. And so my husband was like, and granted, we had no clue what was going on. It was just like figuring out stuff at this point. It's like, well, Sandra, if you cut losses at 5% and you take gains at 10 or 20%, you know you will come out ahead. He said it's basic math. Yep. That's how we started. And I think that I got carried away very often, and I still do, with like FOMO, with overtrading. But just this simple math always brought me down back to reality.
Right.
And I was like, this is true. And then I read another book, and this is, I think, super. It's called the game. It's a game of large numbers. So you flip a coin 100 times, and I did it at home. And head and tail comes very close.
Yes.
And yeah, so at the end of the game, it's a game of large numbers. Yes. And I think I figured this out fairly quickly. So even if I have 10 losing trades in a row, I will come out ahead after, like, let's say 100 trades. Even if my win rate is only like 50%, I'm gonna start making money. And I think that was my approach. And
that's big.
Well, it's big, but sometimes it sounds a little naive because, well, let me backtrack. So obviously, when I enter my trades, there are also support and resistance line. I'm not just like randomly trading there for like a 5% loss or a 10% gain. But once I had my system, I had my trading strategy, I was like, okay, 5% loss, I'm out. Yeah. Don't really care what it does afterwards.
And you keep it really simple.
Exactly. I think that's
you keep it really simple, and then it allows for some discretion. But
yeah,
from again the law of large numbers. That's why I always talk to people who get hung up on losses. That every single little trade, every loss, it's about the next 1,000 trades.
You're correct. Yeah.
And that's what it does come down to. I know that I have to have a process in place that is going to be fruitful for the next 1,000 trades, not just today. Any of us can gamble, right?
I know. Oh yeah, we all love to do that, but it takes some time, and it sounds very easy, but it took me a lot of pain and research to come to that conclusion. I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but it's what I came down with, how it works for me,
right?
To be able to do this every day,
right? And so would you say with your system, and I know I've heard you speak about it before, but it leaves you sometimes with maybe some FOMO because you're not maybe taking 100% moves all the time, or so you see some people sitting much longer in plays. Does that affect you at all?
It does. But I think trading comes down, when you really figure it out with journaling, how your system does perform. And I know people have systems that work much better, and then they can pull 80%, 90% winners. But my system really doesn't allow it. I tracked it. I tracked it for a very, very long time. Yeah. And I'm usually, with my entries, I'm maxed out at 20%. And yes, there are times that I leave money on the table, but they are the abnormality. And usually, my move is over. With a 20% win.
No, and it's important to understand that. I mean, that's why you keep going forward, in my opinion, when I see what you've been doing. Is because it takes a lot of discipline at the end of the day to understand that, and then to trust your data. You're not fighting your data. You're actually being very, very realistic, which we talk about, having really great perspective. We want our perspective to actually match price action and the prints on the charts.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't.
But it is, as you said, it is frustrating, and it can get frustrating, and it affects me too. If I sell at 120 and then I turn around and it's at 180. Right. But I think it's out of my influence, right? It's I can't control the stock market. It might as well drop down. by $1. So I can only really do my system.
You know, over the span of time, you're proven to yourself that you're doing the exact right thing. Maybe not right now, it hurts when you get the FOMO, but you know the next 1,000 trades you're doing the right thing. No, that's really amazing, and it is cool, and that's why I say you have a unique outlook that is really working for you that I haven't read for many. You know, this is your own system, right? Which I really find impressive. What about, have you felt anything discouraging? I don't want to say discouraging, but were there any difficulties in being female in an area where it's almost entirely men? You know, it's not, and do you have an opinion on why that would be? Because all the women that I work with, women like you and, you know, some of the women in the pack and stuff like that are just phenomenal and are built to trade some of these women. They can be great traders. And there's a lot of mothers out there who have nothing to do and could be trading. You know, there are a lot of other, and so I've never been quite sure exactly what it is, but we're dominated by men. Do you have any thoughts on that? Does it even matter to you at all?
Well, at the beginning, and we talked about that, it matters a lot because I started trading, and then of course you look for mentors and for fellow traders who have achieved success. And at that point, they were all young, they were all male, they all looked the same, which is great. And trust me, I'm very happy for anyone, but for me, myself, it was a little discouraging because I was thinking, well, if this is the creme de la creme, where am I going to end up? Because we have, you know, not that much in common. Will I be successful? Can I be successful? Do I have what it takes? Because I have a family sitting at home. I can't be 10 hours in the basement somewhere, you know, with no distraction. It's not what I'm cut out. So it was very discouraging. But then actually, I saw you, and that's why you are such an inspiration to me, because you do have a family. And so I was like, it can be done. And I know your responsibilities, or I can assume what they are, but I was like, well, if Roland can do it, so I only have to drive to school and then I'm basically done for the day. Maybe I give it a shot. And so that I found was very encouraging. And then I became pretty, I actually flipped it around. I was like, well, why don't I become maybe the first six-figure female in Roland's chat group? And that was, it took a while. I didn't decide it and it happened the next day. But I kind of flipped the story around. I was like, well, why not me? Why not? You know, I've achieved other stuff and I can only fail. And and I think women are actually fantastic traders. But it's right. And when I told my family, my friends that I give up my job to trade full time, that wasn't received very well.
I know, I'd imagine. I'd imagine. I mean, you went to amazing schools, you have a great career, and they're like, what the hell are you doing?
What's wrong with you? Yeah. And especially as a female, it's like,
Why?
What do you mean stock market?
They probably thought you lost your mind.
What do you mean you're managing the finances now?
But your husband, tremendously supportive, huh?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, and I got to meet him. Great guy, by the way. Great guy.
Thank you.
And I mean, obviously that was a big deal. You know, that success that you're experiencing and that decision, like, why not me? That's a big thought. I mean, why not you? Instead of why, like, how could it be me? It went to why not me? And you did that. You know, you did it. It did take a while, but I think I saw you from that point, maybe 5 or 6 boot camps in a row.
That's true.
You
that's
know,
true. After Austin.
She kept showing up. I kept seeing Sandra everywhere. At each boot camp, she was there, taking notes, getting better, you know, getting better. And then out of nowhere, she's like, pull me aside. She goes, I crossed 6 figures. Show me the profit chart. It's so cool. You know, just really low key.
Yeah.
Going about her business, her system that she was developing. So really, really cool to see. How about being a mother? You know, because that's a big deal too. Obviously, we're both parents.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have to take your daughter to school. You know that obviously in the morning we have to trade. I think you're East Coast. Are you East Coast?
Yeah, East Coast, yeah.
So it's right around market open and stuff like that. How's that look for you?
She was one of the first reasons why I actually wanted to trade, my daughter and my family. Because my daughter, she's now actually just left for college. But when I started trading, she was high school. And I was thinking, I was a single mom for a long time. And I really never had time for school activities and stuff. And then I got remarried and then I had more security, obviously, financially. And so I just wanted to spend time with her.
Yeah.
I was like, I have like 3 more years left with her.
Right.
And I don't want to drive to an office and sit there for like 8 hours and then never see her. And that was actually the drive behind it. So that was during COVID, where it was pretty easy to do. And then when my daughter was going back to school, I did have to drive her. And that is inconvenient because I like to trade pre-market.
Right.
I was like driving. She went to private school, so which means there wasn't a school bus. So now I'm driving her, and it took like 50 minutes a day back and forth. So I missed a lot. But it is what it is. Therefore, I was there. I was always made at home for market open, and I started very early. I started at 7. So by the time I left for school, I knew what was going on. I knew the runners. I kind of had a plan.
Right.
And then we came back. But it was often. It was not that much fun. I mean, I'm like looking at charts, like on the phone there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a little bit easier for me now. But it's I think for mothers, a huge opportunity to do that, especially when you have kids. Wouldn't say if you're like having maybe an infant and you have to really be there all day.
Right.
But for school-aged kids and you have like 5-6 hours out of the day, it's genius.
Yes, I think so. And that's why I love seeing more and more females getting into the game, understanding it's not just for men. And honestly, men are wired not the best at times, from my experience, myself included, took so much rewiring. So,
but I have, if I may add, and that's my pitch here for you. Your chat room is just great, the Wolf Pack, and I found so much support in that, and that wasn't always the case, because you're the only woman, and then and I experienced that too. Then you put a trade idea out there, and it's like, whatever, what does she know? And I never found that in the Wolf Pack.
No,
seriously, actually, quite the contrary. And that's an added bonus, because I think it is intimidating if there are 100 guys in the chat room and 2 women. Yeah, exactly. And then you want to say something, but I've actually never found this to be any limitation.
No, I mean, from my experience, everyone has tremendous amounts of respect for you. You just spoke to the people out in the boot camp here too, and people just love you and respect you because you speak well, you speak how it is, you speak from the heart. It's original. It's your journey, which is different than everyone else's journey. And so that is really awesome to me. So if you had to start again, what would you go back and tell yourself? I just want to get a couple of questions, maybe now for the viewers for some of the newer traders out there, who maybe some of the newer female traders out there who are interested in trading right now. What would you go back and tell yourself just to start? Best piece of advice right at the beginning?
I think what was the game changing for me is journaling. And I would advise anyone to do that, because not only do you track your trades, but you also find your personality and what works for you. And that has helped me a lot. I, for example, thought I had to sit in front of the computer all day long, and from actually pre-market, after-market, so it didn't make any sense for me. And then I started journaling, and then I actually learned that I'm most successful from 8 to 11. And everything for me is a complete waste of time.
Right.
I mean, I do other stuff, trading related, but trading, I give my money away in the afternoon.
Right.
And so I think if I would be a new trader, I would really start there. And then you also develop your own strategies. You see what works for you, what time of the days work for you, especially for traders with families.
Right.
I think that's ideal. Or you take it the other way around. You say, hey, I can only trade in the afternoon. What strategies work for me? What setups? ABCD pattern. I mean, there are a lot of strategies for different times of the day, and try to make that work for you.
Right. So how about for the mothers out there, for the women out there who are thinking about getting into trading, and they see on social media, they see on Twitter, a bunch of young men, and only that, and they do see some of the women who are out there just pretty much stigmatized, kind of how you felt it would be, What is your advice to those women to get through that, kind of mental hurdle, which it would have to be for some? They have to be scared of that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I think just treat it like any other job, be professional at it. I think this is not the place to be overly emotional in trading. And the market, and that's what always actually drew me to the market, doesn't discriminate.
Nope.
The market doesn't care how you look like, where you come from, what language you speak. It doesn't. You just have to perform. And women can do that as well as men can do in the stock market, in my opinion. And you always have to think about that. And it's not about social media and who does what. And if there are women who want to trade, I mean, you don't have to be all over the chat room. I mean, you can do that a little bit in private at the beginning, but I did that too. I was the last one to speak anywhere. Just like sat back, Googled everything, observed, and that's how you can get started. But it's a great room, and if you see it's a great room I think for women traders, and if you see the possibilities it can provide for you, unlimited income, time at home with your family, trading from anywhere in the world, there are a lot of benefits to trading.
Yes. I love it. I love it. It's all great advice and a really inspiring story, different kind of background, amazing mentality. And I'll say one of the hardest workers that I work with, one of the hardest workers in the room. No, she does her she does everything she needs to do. She journals. She developed her own system. She adheres to it, and you can hear from our interview. I mean, she has FOMO because it's not always perfect. Nothing is perfect. And it's just been really impressive. And I believe that is why people respect you, because you have something to offer and you speak well about it and you're confident and you're a great trader. That's a big deal. To me, that's all that matters. It's always been, I don't care who you are or how old you are. And the proof's always in the pudding and the P&L at the end of the day.
That's true.
and it's really, really exciting to see your journey. And I know it's just the beginning, and I'm really excited to see you continue to spread the word to other females. I know that at least within our group, the women really look up to you and have taken so much inspiration. That's why I really wanted to get you on here, and hopefully this brought some inspiration to you guys at home. Thank you so much, Sandra, for coming out, giving your story to the people, and looking forward to seeing your journey in the future. It's an amazing profession. It can be. I mean, you come in, make your mark, you'll be respected.
Well, thank you so much, Roland, for having me and for giving me this opportunity. My trading has really changed when I became a member of the Wolf Pack and when I came to the boot camps. And so thank you so much for that, for all the support.
Keep crushing it.
I will.
Later, guys.
Bye.